So first of all, thank you so much for being here today in the 2022 Digitalization Working Group kickoff. During the event, we will explain the activities carried out in 2021 and the activities that will take place in 2022. First of all, let me introduce the housekeeping rules. So please, upon entry, ensure that your microphones are switched off in order to avoid any noise interference. I also would like you to introduce yourself by where you come from and the organization you are representing via chat. So in this way, we can get know each other a little bit better before the discussion and the workshop. Right, mine. Give me 1 second. And lastly, I would like you to know that the dialogue is going to be recorded. Please, you are more than welcome to write any questions via chat, but we will discuss them afterwards during the discussion that we will have. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief overview about the agenda, and then my colleague Arturo will explain it in more depth. So first of all, as I mentioned before, I'm going to explain the activities that we carried out in 2021. Then Arturo will explain the activities that we will carry out in 2022. Then we will have Liz Ann, the project manager from IMR, from Ireland, who will explain a definition of follow-up funding schemes. Then we will have Tamás Gyulai from Dutureg, Hungary, representing the DIH World Project. After Tamás, we will have Andreas Duborg from Funding Box as well, representing Shop for CF project, explaining the definition of follow-up, again, the funding scheme. And finally, we will have a discussion altogether moderated by Jakub Krumselnicki from Funding Box and Borut Trim from Promuhai Technology Park. Later on, we will have the conclusions, and then we will have the end of the meeting. So as you can see, the meeting will last from 1 hour and 50 minutes, from 10 to 11:15. Okay, I'm gonna share the next presentation so we can start. Can you see the presentation?
We can see the screen, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned before, thank you so much for being here in the Digitalization Working Group. This working group was created in 2016 with Funding Box, and then we relaunched the activities in 2022 in order to facilitate best practices, sharing funding opportunities, and to learn more about different experiences from the digitalization point of view. Everything aligned with the digitalization strategies by the European Commission. As you can see, in average, we are 40 active members. It depends on the meetings that we organize. And of course, you are more than welcome to come and become a member of this Digitalization Working Group. Here you have the timeline of the 2021 activities. You can see that in March, exactly 1 year ago, we organized the kickoff of the working group. Then we had the presentation in the brokerage event for innovation at CEST 2021. I take the opportunity to invite everyone because the next brokerage is going to be next week. So please feel free to come and register. Then we had the second meeting in May. And the third one was in September, and the last one was in November in the framework of Agorada Plus. It was face-to-face, hybrid, in Valencia. Then, as you can see, we also send newsletters. The first one was in April, then June, October, and December. I will explain in more detail afterwards these activities. Okay, so here you can see the title of the activities. The first one was the kickoff. We had more than 100 participants. Then we had the workshop on follow-up funding. Then the third one was with the topic at Bowie and Tretamax workshop. And the last one was, last year was I4ME's workshop, as I mentioned before, in the framework of Agorada Plus. As I mentioned, we have sent 4 newsletters. In these newsletters, you have many funding opportunities through Cascade funding or European project opportunities. We also have the section with different networking opportunities, and we write as well some news from our members, everything related to the digitalization field. Lastly, I would like to mention that we have as well the digitalization working group tools. First of all, we have the working group website, so you can go, you can check all the activities, the newsletter, you have all the information there. And as I mentioned before, you can become a member of the working group. Then we also have the exchange of opportunities. So timely, we send information about different funding opportunities through e-reminders, through the social media. So you are invited to follow us. And then finally, we have this great tool, which is a calendar of open calls and funding opportunities. You can see here on the right side the images. So please, you can scan the QR or you can go through the website and take a look. Thank you so much. So now I'm gonna give the floor to Arturo Ibañez from Funding Box.
Thank you, Julia. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to briefly present the activities of the working group for this year. So as some of you may know, at the end of last year, we circulated a survey among the members of the working group. And we have designed the activities for this year based on your feedback and suggestions. So last year we covered in each of the workshops, but for this year we decided to change the approach. So in the next slide you will see that for our approach for this year, we will be organizing 4 workshops, and the 4 workshops will be focused on one thematic, and this topic is the follow-up funding. So what do we mean by follow-up funding? Well, let me give you an example. Think of a company in your region that is a beneficiary in a European project, and they are receiving funding to implement or develop a certain technology. They will participate in this European project for 12 months, let's say, and they will receive 50,000 euros as an example. And the question is, what will happen after they have successfully completed their participation in this program? And here is where the follow-up funding comes into the game. This company might need further funding or any other type of support, such as mentoring or testing facilities. The same thing may happen at regional level with companies that are receiving support from a digital innovation hub, but they might need complementary support programs in order to implement or develop a certain technology. So in both scenarios, the regional development agencies play a very important role, and it is important that regional development agencies are aware of the needs of the regional companies in order to design support programs that can follow up on the support that are already receiving from the EU-funded projects or other support programs at regional level. And the idea of this workshop is to bring together all these actors that should be involved in the definition of priorities at regional level. And here I've listed some of them, and mostly regional development agencies, digital innovation hubs, RTOs, and the SMEs, of course. And we want you to present your views, your experiences, and best practices, and also your challenges. And as a result of all these workshops, we would like to elaborate sort of a toolkit or a roadmap for other regions that are willing to implement similar support programs. So in the next slide, I will show you how we are going to structure the first 2 workshops. So today we will be focusing on the challenges of follow-up funding. So what are the problems, the barriers that we might come across in the definition and implementation of follow-up funding schemes. And in the next workshop, we will be talking about solutions to the challenges that will be identified today. And we will invite digital innovation hubs, regional development agencies to show their best practices on follow-up funding. And well, as I just mentioned today, today our focus will be, and on the next slide, I show you already that to cover this follow-up funding, we have invited 3 speakers covering different layers. So digital innovation hub perspective will be presented by Lisan Xian. We will also cover the EU project level, will be presented by Andreas Dubourg. And also general perspective covering regional and European level, presented by Tamas Gouliet. So we have 30 minutes for discussion. So we invite you to share your questions in the chat, and also invite you to share your experience during this discussion session. So we will now start with the first speaker, Lisan Xian. She's program manager at the Regional Manufacturing Digital Innovation Hub in Ireland, and Lisan will be presenting the challenges of follow-up funding from the Digital Innovation Hub perspective. So Lisan, if you're ready, you can start your presentation.
Yeah, no problem. I think I need to be allowed to share my screen. Yeah. So the host has disabled participant screen sharing. Great. There we go. You should be able to see everything now, hopefully.
Yes, we can.
Great, that's great. Perfect. So thank you for inviting me here today. I represent Irish Manufacturing Research in Ireland. So we're the only independent research technology organisation established in Ireland under the Technology Centres programme. And I guess I should start here, actually, sorry. So basically, I am a senior programme manager. I look after competitive funding for the researchers that are internal to our organisation, but I also support companies with their competitive funding needs as well. So from very small innovation vouchers right up to multi-million euro large scale research collaborations. So I really am there with everyone on their journey from start to finish, from scoping out calls to implementation of projects. So I'm there with the companies the whole time, getting that feedback, good and bad. So I hope to be able to share that with you today, to be able to help you with the next workshop and coming up with some solutions to these challenges that the companies are facing. Okay, my email address is there if anybody wants to reach out to me, ask me any questions. I have a one-to-one, happy to share. We're an open book. We are 1/3 funded by the state, so we really are there to share our knowledge. So more people like us can do more of this work all across the EU. Great. Okay, so I put this slide together just to illustrate, I guess, firstly, the region that we're located in. This is really very important for us. We get regional funding by our member state to keep our doors open. So you can see there, Irish Manufacturing Research are located. We have a pilot factory in the centre of Ireland in County Westmeath, and that's in the Nuts 2 region. So you can see IE06, the Eastern and Midlands. So in our region, we also have the capital city of Dublin, there to the far east. So, that has a big impact on us. So all roads lead to Dublin in Ireland, and we're close enough to that. But we also are set up in Westmeath because we are a 2-hour journey, really, from anywhere on the island of Ireland. Any company can get in the car, come to us, and it's usually car in Ireland, come to us and get home in the same day. So that's really, really important to them. So what I've done here is I've hyperlinked these little images of, you can see the little desktop images. So when you get the slides and you click on those images, you can be brought to the Eastern and Midlands Regional Assembly website. So you can see what they're up to at the regional level. Then the second website that I've hyperlinked here really is the Technology Centre Programme, administered by Enterprise Ireland, our development agency here in Ireland. And Irish Manufacturing Research is listed there as the Technology Centre for Manufacturing, along with a number of other technology centres for different domains and different sectors. So there's one for milk, there's one for children, there's one for health. lots of different types of technology centers. So I know I'll be focusing a lot on manufacturing SMEs, but really all SMEs, they have access to a similar technology center. And that's the approach the Irish state have taken. And they're distributed all across Ireland, all the different technology centres, and all of the other ones are hosted by either universities or technical universities. The third image then, I've hyperlinked our website. So the landing page for companies to come and really see what we offer. So I have a bigger slide here about what we offer. So it's industrial research training, which is becoming incredibly important, with the skills shortage, especially in ICT, getting those ICT specialists into companies, really tough and a big barrier. The funding opportunities, so they can come to me and my colleagues and we can give them funding clinics one-to-one online to help them to navigate all of the various grants that are out there. We don't give advice about financing, but we show them where to get financial advice. We also lead a lot of brokerage events, we provide incubation, and we also have a lot of specialist manufacturing services. So we're really delighted to see some of the new programs coming up, especially the Interregional Innovation Investment Fund, the I3. That looks really interesting, commercial, really what the companies would like to see. So things like that it's great to see those things popping up now. There's new programs from the Commission. So today I just wanted to talk to you about a project that I'm orchestrating on behalf of a number of partners in Ireland. And why I want to tell you about Factory Exchange. It's a candidate European Digital Innovation Hub. And why I feel it's appropriate here is it has been designed to address the challenges that we're hearing about. The companies looking for fast, flexible service delivery, and I mean fast. They need solutions that really are very, in the commercial domain. They don't have access to the skills. They don't have the skills in-house. And they really they know they need to digitize, but there's so many reasons why they can't get there. So sometimes it's the admin burden. They're being lost in this vast ecosystem, not having the confidence, I guess, to invest, take that next step and invest themselves, put their hands in their pockets, okay? So really they're looking for that kind of trusted broker of services, that helping hand to help them to navigate. And I know a lot of us are out there doing that, but we're not doing it at scale. So the Factory Exchange will allow that to occur at scale. This project is currently under active evaluation, so I can't really get into the novelties, but hopefully by our next workshop, maybe later this year, I can talk to you about the novelties that we've introduced. One particular very disruptive element that will completely change up the way we broker and deliver services compared to what our landscape is offering right now to the SME based on this SME feedback. So here I've shared as much as I can without upsetting the partners about what we offer. But you can see here, I've layered on the regions. I've layered on the main partners in our consortium. So those competency centres, those RPOs, the Irish Centre for High-End Computing, the National Centre for Data Analytics, the Technical University of the Shannon, where people get those skills. KPMG Future Analytics, so bringing in the private sector to help us out here, to really help us accelerate, create some commercial. So we've been on a journey, and I've highlighted that there since really 2020, okay? And I've everything hyperlinked. This is something that is from the proposal that I think is really interesting. We can't do what we need to do for the SME without the wider networking. So Factory piece of the jigsaw. There's many other European digital innovation hubs needed, EENs, many different types of organizations that we need to collaborate with, share our services to get us, I guess, over the line. So I'm going to stop here now. I know there's slides, but they will be shared with you afterwards. Done a lot of analysis about the customers, the customer needs. The regional development agencies are up there, service providers, B2. So you're part of this service exchange to enable this rapid, fast, flexible sharing of knowledge between the SMEs and the knowledge providers that are out there. to really help them quickly get the information they need so they can invest and maybe move a little bit away from the grants, which can take some time. And we are not delivering enough at scale. You know, that investment needs to be really private sector led now. So there's my few slides. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, my email address is there. Thanks for the opportunity today. And I look forward to all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisanna. I think it's as an intermediary entity between SMEs and the regional authority. I think it's interesting to hear your views on this topic. And we'll come back to you to discuss in detail some of the points that you mentioned, but especially I think it will be very interesting to hear in the future about this factory exchange project, how it evolves and what are the first results on that.
And what I must say as well is we've built our factory exchange with 8 other EDIHs, one in Slovenia, Finland. So we've actually built our proposals together and we've shared all of our insights as we've built with them. So it's a much wider collaboration outside of Ireland, sharing our understanding of the SME needs and maybe being able to support each other once we're up and operational. Yeah.
Definitely, we should follow up on this project and maybe invite you in a future event. But let's jump now to the second speaker. The second speaker is Tamas Gülay. He has broad experience also working with digital innovation hubs and different clusters in Hungary. And he's also involved in several European projects. Tamas will be covering the challenges from the regional, but also from the European perspectives. Tamas, if you're ready, you can start sharing your presentation.
Thank you very much. I think now you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
So, thank you for the invitation. I am very happy to be here today. And as we have heard from a previous speaker, cooperation is very important, and I think my presentation will highlight that aspect as well.
Tamas, can you put full screen mode?
Is it not?
Mode? No, not yet.
I see. On my screen, it is full screen. Okay, I try to share again. So, okay. This way, that way. Is it okay now?
Yes, perfect. Okay. Thank you.
So I'm representing DUTIREG, which is a economic development organization, and the STAR cluster is the key cluster in our region. We should go to the next slide. I don't know why it's not okay. So the key partners are the cluster and also the Regional Innovation Agency. And together, DUTIREG as a DIH coordinator, we are trying to help SMEs to be successful in international cooperations. The two funding opportunities I would like to mention are in the Meta Building and in the DIH World Project. As you see on the slide, the approach is somewhat different because in the Meta Building, there is a digital innovation platform that creates an ecosystem for SMEs and innovation service providers, whereas in the DIH world, it is the DIH system, the DIH network that provides the background for SME development projects. If we look at an example how it is done in Meta Building, you can see that there are different funding opportunities. Companies that have on different sectors, but it is a simple application, so not too much administration involved. Why is this important? It is because the biggest challenge that we have in implementing such open call programs is to raise awareness about these opportunities among the SMEs and to enable them to use it effectively. There are some tools to help it, but the role of clusters is very important because the digital accumulation channels are not enough. We need the personal contacts, and these two approaches can strengthen each other. Why I stressing all these points? It is because with an open call that is based on a DIH network, the issues are quite similar, but maybe more focused. So there are goal experiments that are open for SMEs, but in each case there are DIH partners who are helping the SME to succeed. But not only, but also cross-border cooperation between DIH and between SMEs is encouraged. As you see, the second open call is just around the corner. It will be launched a couple of days time. So anybody who is listening today to this presentation can go to the site and start working together with the DIH network. And I think that in all European countries, this can be a good help toward SMEs. And since I have only a few minutes, just very so how all these open calls can help the regional support process. So on regional level, the strategies are a very important enabling condition now for European support programs, and it is the entrepreneurial process which can make it really tailor-made on a regional level. On national level, it is very important that innovation agencies and clusters, if they are working together, they can make a critical mass which can make important contributions on national policies. And last but not least, on European level, cooperation can help us to succeed not only at European level, but we can also aim for excellence on global level. And my last slide is just one example that we are not just speaking about it, but we are doing it with partners in smart urban development. So I am fully open to share you more information about these open calls or about this smart urban development project of ours, because we are really happy if we can extend our scope of partnership to other countries. Thank you very much for your attention.
Excellent, Tamas. 5 minutes, perfect. Well, you mentioned the importance of involving SMEs in all this process, no? And you mentioned it, the entrepreneurial discovery process, and maybe a question for later is how to make this process sustainable in time, no? But let's now also jump to the next speaker, which is Andreas Dubourg. He's project manager at the EU-funded project Shop for CF. He will be presenting the challenges on follow-up funding from the perspective of the European project. Andreas, you can start sharing your screen. Yes.
Can you hear me and can you see the screen?
Both, yeah.
And also hopefully now in the full presentation mode?
Yes, we can see.
So thank you so much for inviting me here. And similar to Lisa and Tamas, I have put a lot of information on the slides because we are really eager to present a lot of things to you. So yeah, I'll try to go through it really quick, but also if you have them shared afterwards that you can look deeper into. And also, Arturo, please let me know if I spend too much time. I will try to go quickly through it. But my name is Andreas Dubourg. I'm a project manager of Funding Box, the easy-to-apply platform for funding opportunities. We are currently in more than 40 European projects, and I am running a couple of them. One is Shop for CF, which is a 4-year project on the human-centered robotics in Europe, and we try to apply user-friendly plug-and-play solutions here. Shop for CF is the smart, human-oriented platform for connected factories. It's a 4-year program starting in 2020, and we are now well into the 3rd year. What is Shop for CF in general terms? In Shop for CF, we believe that people should not be replaced by automated processes, but it can gain a relevance through the usage of that people can use their individual abilities within the factory, and therefore new technologies need to be human-centric. So we need to not replace the humans, but we need to focus around how to increase their working life and everything around them. So right now we have an ongoing support program. We have 5 FSTPs selected. They are funded with up to 100,000 euros. Each of these experiments are funded or formed by a consortium of 2 partners, one being a system integrator who integrates Shop4CF solutions, which is digital software components, increasing these human-centric focusing in the digital area, and manufacturing environment that uses or benefits from this solution. So one partner applying a solution, a digital component within the manufacturing environment, hopefully in order to increase efficiency, productivity, optimization, but also with a focus on the people that works here already to reduce laborious work or repetitive tasks or decreasing flaws and failures. So these 5 projects, I'll just jump real quick into them. So it's mattress, the material transformation tracking for reduced stress on the shop floor. It's guidance of selection. It's optimization of matching between incoming orders and available materials, so that that we will know what are the available materials and what are the incoming orders to match them, not to have the workers manually go through everything and try to match what is on the shop floor with what is the incoming order that the system can tell him already. The second one is Brainwatch from Serbia. It's for increased productivity with improved worker satisfaction. And Brainwatch is a consortium with the manufacturer who works with GPS systems, railway equipment, physical devices, and a lot of different things. And they have the issues in the assembly processes when jumping from one production line to another one, especially in low batches, that it takes a lot of manual human worker to set up everything when jumping from one production line to another, and especially in low batches, this is a tiresome process. So here they will guide the workers in this assembly process to optimize this and have an increased productivity. Third one is Spock from France, which is partnered users and cobots powered by key enabling IoT technologies. And this is the use of IoT technology to improve intralogistics within the manufacturing or within the shop floor of the manufacturer. So there's a lot of things here with cobots going around and increasing the intralogistics to optimize everything and use the best paths. But this is a redevelopment of that. Then we have fourth IST-SME from Spain, improved scheduling and traceability in manufacturing SMEs, also an IoT-based solution. So here they will have the IoT solutions for improving scheduling and traceability within the manufacturing area. And then finally, the Postwood tool from Spain, which is positioning and wear measurements of cutting tools, and an AI solution to support tool positioning within the shop floor. There are several thousands of cutting tools within this manufacturer, and keeping an eye on where all of them are is a nightmare for the workers there. So using AI would be a good way of knowing where to put all these tools. So Shop4CF has the idea of becoming a one-stop shop to support commercialization of the developed tools and components through a ramp marketplace. So all these FSTPs, they are either to deploy existing components, redevelop them, or develop even new components, and then they should be able to share it on the marketplace. So now I'm not able to, okay, yeah. So regarding the follow-up funding here, we have this marketplace, but we are also engaging with the FSTPs or the pilots in order to have them going on from this. So one thing is that they will be able to share their solutions on the marketplace, but how can they further develop these, and how can they receive follow-up funding after the support program of Shop4CF? And so one thing is the private sector, and I'm not going to use much time here, but here it's a bit easy to arrange an event or put up a corporate engagement or put them in contact with a specific investor directly who's a decision maker and can do something from there. And then we have the public sector. And here there are two tracks. One is among the FSTPs, where we do a public funding scan to identify the ideal and proper grants for them, so we can support them in what kind of technology are you using, what is your solution able to do, and point them in the right direction. That's one thing. And then we have the authorities, and we have the regional workshops. First thing is being here now, but this is of course to discuss how to implement Shop4C actions to support pilot experimentation regionally. How do we continue from the Shop4C of the European projects into the regions? How do we pass them on and support them in even more funding to develop their technologies, and making also these technologies available for others than just the ones that develops it. And then we are of course encouraging the regions in using and mentioning this marketplace that we have developed. So the challenges here is of course to reach the proper SMEs in the entire union and having them apply. I am personally based in Odense, so here we have a huge robotics hub. So addressing robotic companies here is easier than it is elsewhere, but we want to have a broad outreach in the entire union, and we will need from that also the support of the regional authorities. Then European projects are becoming more and more complex. And because of that, it's also getting harder to attract the right beneficiaries or the right audience to engage with. And also this complexity makes it hard to engage between the European projects and the regional authorities, because it's really hard to sometimes also understand what is the different projects looking for, what can they do, how can regions benefit from the projects and the other way around. Then we have the challenges from the EU project outcomes point of view, that we are looking for synergies with these regional authorities in the uptake of the European outcomes, like applying the type of project at regional level, or do some kind of co-funding opportunities. I would say that we are now in the first support program here, and we are also right now exploring how to define these follow-up funding schemes. So we are really keen on having your point of view in how can we do this. It is of course a challenge that every time we adapt to a certain region or a certain funding scheme from a specific region, then we part from others. So it's really hard to come up with one single scheme that is applicable everywhere. But we are really keen on having your inputs and trying to align the different challenges that we have, so that we can get closer to a common or mutual scheme that we can all benefit from. And then, of course, as I already said, that the properly communicating of needs between EU projects and regions and the other way around, so that we can adapt to this. I guess that I have used my 5 minutes now. I have a single slide here on a Q and open call now. It's also for system integrators, manufacturing companies, and developers. Here, it's not a requirement that it has to be consortiums. It can be individual also. So they're funding them up to 100,000 and an 8 months implementation or support program. And I will not go further into the details, but if you think this is interesting region, and then don't hesitate reaching out to.
Or support from the regions and are applying to EU, a natural next step. No, but once the EU project is over, they might need to come back to the region and receive further support. But let's now go to the discussion session. We have 30 minutes, so please you can share your questions in the chat, or you are also invited to share your experience. My colleague Kuba and Borat will be moderating this session, so I hand the floor now to Kuba.
Thank you, Arturo. Just for the sake of the discussion, I just encourage the speakers to maintain their camera open so we can see our faces and a little bit more empathy in this discussion part. Yeah, so thank you very much for the introductory presentations. I think that just relating it to Arturo intro, what all those presentations have in common? Why are we gathering here, you as speakers? I think that it's important to see that we are all listening to the Digital Innovation Hub's representatives. Those are the knowledge centers that should deploy the digitalization of local SME and should emanate with the knowledge and the technologies to do so. Those knowledge repositories are somehow evangelizing our region and also working very closely with regional development agencies. You know each other, you meet each other on the event, you somehow try to maybe get some feedback from each other when it comes to designing new programs and how to spend structural funds money, for example, within your NUTS2 area and different layers as well. So I think this is the first important common point. We are talking about digital and innovation hubs and about their future, because what they are doing right now, they are performing splendidly on the European level, which means that those cases that Lisan can mention, DIH Square, Andreas Shop for CF, or Tamas, the DIH World, are trying to showcase us through experiments with cascade funding that DIH Square, the DIH can mobilize companies from the region, matchmake the technological offer with their needs, and try to rehearsal with them the possible transformation to more effective and more innovative companies. However, as you can see, we have 1, 2, maybe 3 cases of such projects in this region. And what we would like to do is to see it as a spark, as a starting effect, where the effective support of regional authorities could those projects more massive, could make this evangelization more effective of digital companies in your region process to do so. So this is a little bit the case that if we are looking on individual projects, for example, mentioned by Andreas, we want them more, we want longer challenges, we want to complete the scope of certain testing activities that have been started in European projects and push it forward. So for me, I think that this is the main core of today's conversation, today's discussion. And I would like to maybe start with a very simple question to all of 3 speakers, maybe very briefly, one challenge you still face nowadays when trying to mobilize regional support for the companies in your ecosystem. Just in one sentence, maybe as a warm-up. Lisan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think when companies are going to the regional assemblies for, well, the regional assembly in Ireland is Enterprise Ireland. They have a great website. They list all the different types of grants that you can use depending on what you're looking for when it comes to digitalization. But the companies we're talking about here, let's say, that have gone through some kind of digitalization journey already, have in many cases spent their grant allocation, their de minimis within the state, and some have actually even had success at Horizon Europe, and also have far exceeded the financial support to third parties. So they're at a point where grants aren't worth the time in many cases, and they're looking for that brokerage, that honest, trusted brokerage of services, so they can invest. They have the access to the finance. It's not the problem. They're afraid to make the wrong decision about where to invest, whether it's a new ICT specialist within their company, the salary commitment, whether it's updating some kind of legacy machine with some new software and getting locked into some kind of solution that they shouldn't really have, acquired, or buying a machine, or buying a robot, these big capital expenditures. So they really need somebody there on their side who is certified, kind of like an honest, trustworthy broker with them to help them to navigate and show them all the great things that are out there. There's so many amazing use cases, great tools, lots of knowledge. It's just so vast. So, and that human aspect, that local person speaking in their accent, helping them to navigate this big EU landscape, with these great opportunities. And the opportunities really are knowledge. So, for example, in DIH Squared, we have our, we've had our experiments. We've developed some really nice projects. That's happening across all the Horizon 2020 projects, these experiments and applications and projects, these mini projects. They need to all those success stories and failure stories need to be shared. So commission tools like the Innovation Radar, the European, letting SMEs and companies know that these things exist so they can see what's out there to help them to invest, to put their hand in their pocket, because grants are great and we do need those success stories, we do need those options, but we need to now work at scale, many companies at the same time to move forward on their digitalization private investment. So that's a very long answer.
Andreas or Tamas, you would like to add something about the #1 challenge you still face nowadays when trying to mobilize this support, this follow-up funding?
So engaging with the next funding opportunities at the stage where they are by the end of a program such as Job for CF. So having the support also in the commercialization activities, how to organize themselves, how to hire in for taking this next step or leap into outside of the safe area, because as long as you are funded this way, then you operate within a safe zone. So that would be the main challenge to plan these activities so one funding follows on top of the other one with the next stages.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. This continuity is very important. Also, we know that sometimes SMEs are starting the similar projects over and over again, and they cannot really push them to the higher technology readiness level. They cannot really get to the market. And this is a little bit of the vicious circle that maybe this framework of funding that we are using at the moment in the European project is pushing us towards. However, maybe I would like to incorporate our second moderator here, Barut, by asking another question, because Barut, you are coming from the Digital Innovation Hub in Slovenia, and maybe you can start a little bit with introducing what is a little bit different in your country and how you are cooperating with the region, answering the question, considering how the dialogue between your region and DIH is structured nowadays, what would you change to make it more efficient, to maybe incorporate those challenges mentioned by Lisa, Andreas, and Tamas to the daily job that you are doing together with the regional authority, especially that you are very closely related. Am I right, Borut?
Thank you, Kuba. Actually, you gave a lot of, let's say, starting points for me. First of all, I would like to add that I got, let's say, very good starting point from Andreas, because I see we are all, at least my personal perspective is that we are focusing only on this technological digitization moment. Yet I see that somehow technology is progressing much more faster than people's skills and knowledge. So I believe that the next challenge for us, it will somehow have to leverage from this technological point, because this research and development seems to function well, rather to the impacts for the real industry and introduction to the industry. So when you are asking me about let's say, moments that we are coping with in Slovenia and the barriers in the funding, I can say that it's always depending on type of an entity that you are, whether you are a technology provider or you are SME manufacturing that needs the technology. And then you have large companies which have special status and somehow they are a bit cut off from the grants, although they can apply also to different, let's say, call standards. And then you have these intermediates, such as we are, representing a bridge between multiple, I would say, stakeholders, and we should serve as a catalyst. Now, somebody mentioned, I believe it was Lisan, saying about the trust. Basically, business is done by the people, irrespectively, not saying that the digital technologies are less something of value, but definitely people do business. So when we do, let's say, daily, we connect the companies, the basic thing is about the trust, and trust is gained through, let's say, mutual cooperation and performance. So that's something that needs to be somehow supported. And when one talks about, let's say, what I would change, Slovenia has a pretty poor, I would say, funding, at least system, banking system, does not support well. So we are pretty much relying on different European funds, not only national, because we don't have this regional level, like you are saying. We are similar to Hungary. So we have national level and we have local level. Local level is also not loaded with the money, or say having some special funding schemes. From time to time you get it, like on regional level, there was exceptional measure for 2 regions which were less developed, including ours. But that's something that it's a next moment in what you are asking. I would like that whenever some region or country introduces some funding schemes, they should be like from 3 to 7 years. So companies are able to study them. They are sure that there will be available funding for their endeavors, because in a lot of cases, when companies come to us for assistance, we try to find also some, let's say, leverage grants funding for their, let's say, experiments. And they just have bad luck, because at the time when they get to us, there is nothing available for them. So when you have a program funding, that you have tenders that are repeating, and you know for sure when they will be published, and the rules are all the time same, because now we hear a lot of stuff that the rules are changing, or they are not understandable, where our role is actually to help them. But yeah, I would like to have some kind of a stable programmed funding schemes that are known to everybody, and thus much more available and accessible for the companies to use out the opportunities that digitization brings. Because on one side we have tenders that are related to R&D. These are quite well, I would say, used. But next level, which is more towards industry, I'd say that it's on national level to have supporting measures to implement or introduce such technologies into the daily living of the companies. And that's what companies are expecting, actually, that we help them to become more competitive, more digitized, stuff like that. Yeah, that's from my point. Maybe I have a question to all 3 speakers, basically how they cope with the idea that technology is basically advancing much faster than people. Is this a challenge in the future for everybody?
I don't mind addressing that. Thanks, Boris, for the information that you brought to our attention. There was a question as well in the chat, which may be kind of related, but in order for the companies to be supported, that honest, trusted broker of services, that kind of missing piece, that certified person, that missing piece has continually come up in our conversations with SMEs. So Irish Manufacturing Research coordinated a proposal last year to mobilise a coordination support action under Horizon 2020. So we brought together a pan-European consortium touching down all 27 EU countries to mobilise people like me and people like you under to help us get that knowledge so we can distribute it out there to the people that we meet. and not just local knowledge, but European knowledge in a consistent, quality assured way. Okay, so I put in the chat a link to the ADMA, so the Advanced Manufacturing Transformers, people like you and me, helping people on their digital transformation journey. And that project is now up and running. So there will be a quality mark for the transformer and training that anybody can do. So you could be in an SME, you could be a cluster manager, you could be a development advisor in a regional assembly, but anyone can take the training, get that basic knowledge and be able to distribute it out there. Okay. Now we are in the process of creating a transformer academy. So not just applied to advanced manufacturing, and maybe some transformers that are specialists in robotics, for example, or a particular type of ICT or cybersecurity or something like that. So that's there for everyone today. You can go on the website, you can apply to become a transformer, the honest, trustworthy broker, so that we all get that knowledge and consistency and can connect to each other. You know, we're one family, so we can connect to each other. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, this is a perfect answer for this element of skills, which should be advancing in parallel to the technological portfolio of digital innovation hubs and the transformers. ADMA figure is something that is crucial for that. Also, we can find similar solutions like the IH Square Network has local evangelists in robotics, which is also somehow those figures that are promoted as a knowledge repository and skills repository that can emanate also not only on the technical solution, but also this human transfer of knowledge is very much there.
It was the LEARs, so the local evangelists of robotics in the DIH Square project, that inspired the transformer approach. It's really effective to have those evangelists, those people in the region available to companies. The companies really appreciate it, and a huge level of trust has been built up. And it's just to scale that approach. I think the LEARs have done a fantastic job, and that the way they operate as well, and has been just a pleasure to be part of that community, and it has been a real big inspiration for the approach now we're taking forward with transformers. So without the LEARs, I don't think there'd be transformers, and I don't think there'd be this pan-European, you know, bringing together. So fingers crossed it'll all come together.
Yeah. Now maybe I would like to spill over a little bit this topic and maybe ask Esteban, because I've seen that you have asked two questions, basically one extended one in the chat. If you want, maybe you can turn on your camera and ask it in person, because this is also like an element how the public administration can somehow learn from those experiences, and how those entities can promote the solutions that have been tested on their site and repeat this a little bit in the more perpetuum mobile kind of a level. I don't know, Esteban, did I understood you right?
Yes, perfectly. And I think Lisa Ann already answered that with the transformers. Thank you very much. I was visiting the website of the project, and very interesting. The topic is that beyond grants and things, and normally digital innovation hub should be a test for solution for SMEs, but I think it's very difficult. I cannot imagine well how to do that effectively. And the topic is like that. Sometimes SME owners or the responsible of innovation in an SME receive many offers, and they don't know if it is suitable for them or not. And I was wondering if Tamas or Andreas or Lisa, that has already answered, could imagine solutions to certify or to make possible for these companies to test the offers that they are using in a very effective way. And the second question is regarding connecting with that, how public administration, development agencies could reinforce that, because sometimes the companies involved in project that need another subsequent project, another project, and then at the end is useless. So how we, beyond the money, how we could help the companies to identify good solution for them in the field of digitalization, because sometimes I think they are lost. This is the question. I think it's a common problem in all of Europe. Lisa has answered, but maybe Tamas has another. I don't know if I spoke too much. Tamas, is how to help, because you have an experience in development agencies. How we help our local companies to identify the tested solution? Do you know any solution or something that we could do to help them?
So presently there is a scheme in Hungary which supports SMEs in a way that the financial support is linked to the internal transformation process of the companies. So they can apply for new equipment or services to develop technology, but they are obliged to follow course, implement some internal business development process. So I think that training or skill development linked with investment support is a good way forward, because this gives incentive to the company to think in a complex way, not only about how to develop a technology, use a new robotic system in the production, but also to consider in a complex way how digitalization can transform the operations of the company. So I think that this is the approach which works well in Hungary in one specific scheme, and it can be put more mainstream in the following years.
Thank you, Tamas. I think that we have gathered quite some much different challenges that SMEs are facing in absorbing technologies. We need, let's say, close presence of digital innovation hubs to guide them. We need figures that create the trust and, let's say, somehow cluster the skills of the advisor that can be even certified and recognized regionally or even higher than regionally. We can think about other money streams or funding streams that are not necessarily public to help from the regional perspective to the companies how to ask for I don't know, bank loans for their new equipment, for funding robots. And at the same time, we have also mentioned that we need somehow continuity and even prediction of the granting schemes from the public sources. So we are not saying like, sorry, last week the deadline has passed, so you can never ever again apply for this call. Thanks board for this input. Yeah, and I think that those challenges should be our continuous brainstorming process and putting them on the table during this working group. We can think about how the regions can create those strategies and maybe mold or co-finance programs like Digital Europe, like Interreg, and also new interregional innovation investment strategy, I3 call, which also allows regions to unite and create such mechanisms that can be used later on by companies and can create this replicable schemes. Also, as Anne just said in the chat, more commercial, less research. However, I think that we were dominating here the conversation with this wish list of the digital innovation hubs. Maybe now I would like to invite Borut Jurisic from Regional Development Agency of Podravie, Maribor, just to invite us maybe to a place and the moment where we can try to mobilize and brainstorm also more with regions and think about those regional development success stories that can flow as an answer to the challenges, as answers to the challenges defined today. So Barut, please let us know what is cooking Maribor.
Yes, hello everybody. So as you already know, the next event, it was already visible in the slide at the beginning. The next event will be in Maribor on May 17th. And we are looking for as many possible good practices that we could present about this. So we will be concentrated on DIGS, digital innovation, and cases for robotics. And well, any good study case doesn't have to be the best practice that everyone can copy, but we can actually learn as much from it as possible. And I hope that a great discussion will also arise, and probably also new initiatives, new ideas of what could be done. So remember, May 17th, you are all invited. It will be a hybrid event, so you can attend either live or online. So we are looking forward to see at least some of you live as well, because as you know, there's always social events when people gather live and you can discuss more things in more details better. So hopefully with the support of Erada, Founding Box, and also Project CEST, within which we started organizing this, we will have a great event and have a lot of brainstorming so that we can further support all the needs of the SMEs in the case of uptake of digital innovations that are already here. Thank you.
Thank you, Barut. I hope that during the social dinner, we will see a lot of tables where at the same table, we will see the Digital Innovation Hub representative, Regional Development Agency representative, and a company that might be a beneficiary of follow-up funding, drinking beer together. This is, I think, the most effective way of finding solutions also for those challenges that we have tackled today. Thank you very much for today's session. Thank you, Liz-Anne. Thank you, Tamas. Thank you, Barut and Andreas, for introducing the projects with this cascade and funding schemes and with this evangelization in digitalization and robotics at regional level. And let's hope that we will be seeing each other mostly in person in Maribor on 17th of May. Thank you so much for today. I don't know, Julia, would you like to add some closure remarks, or we just leave the session?
Hello, everyone. I just would like to say again, thank you so much. And hopefully I will see all of you in Maribor as well. So we keep in contact, and we will forward all the information about the next event. And thank you so much. Bye.